So this is Cloudinary Cafe number 19. This is Unlocking AI-Driven Media Management with MCPs, and it's hosted by my colleague Nick and myself. I'm Jen. I'm the Director of Developer Relations here at Cloudinary, relatively new to the job, but super excited to join this cafe session to talk about a topic that I think a lot of people are interested in. So let's see what we can learn today and learn together about MCPs. Nick, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, so I'm Nick. I've been part of Cloudinary for over 6 years now. I'm a member of our developer experience team, focusing on developer-facing content and documentation mostly.
Great. Well, welcome everybody. So Nick's going to take it away.
So I think it makes sense for us to go into a little bit about what MCPs are, how they work, and why you might want to use them. We've got a kind of fun little image here, which hopefully will help to explain this. But MCP, so Model Context Protocol servers, and what this basically is a way of connecting different tools, SaaS applications, databases, file systems, anything that realistically has an API, a connection into it. Most likely will have an MCP server that you can use to connect to your LLM, so your AI chat or your tooling, your agentic tooling, that kind of stuff. You can think of it as the fact that you're the MC and they're kind of your backstage crew. So they can easily perform actions such as retrieving a database schema, going to Jira and retrieving Jira tickets. Then, you could build out a complete flow and have your GitHub account connected, and you can, take on a Jira ticket agentically using your LLM, make those changes, and then open a pull request. And that's all done via your AI chat, your LLM. It's this notion of having all these different connections and all these different integrations, and it's all served up via your LLM, via your chat and your tooling. It is a kind of standard that's used across most of the kind of most popular AI tooling and the network. So it's an important step for building out these agentic flows, and that's the direction the kind of AI world is going in at the moment.
Right. So MCP is the protocol, that's the handshake between the LLM and your tooling. Is that right? Is that a good way to think about it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much a standard in that regard.
And then we talk about agentic workflows. This has to do with, AI agents, right? So these are the little workers in the back that you're not, manually controlling all the time, but maybe they're working on things in the background. So there, of course, there's questions about security that you need to be careful about, but people are finding ways to use these agents in all different ways, from organizing your vacations to getting your GitHub workflows up and running and managed.
So now we've kind of got an idea of what MCP servers are and what they can be used for. Let's dive into the Cloudinary MCP servers. So currently we have 5 different servers available. This is a continuously evolving part of the product, so this may change in the future, but at the moment this is the current state. So the top two you can see in that table, we have asset management and we have environment config, and these are the two main ones that you're likely to use. Asset management enables a bunch of different actions that you can perform in this case, and when we talk about MCP servers, we talk about them exposing tools. So a tool is a particular action that you might want to perform. So uploading an asset would be a tool, renaming an asset, deleting an asset, adding a folder, renaming a folder, moving files around, anything that you would want to do to manage the assets that you have in your Cloudinary library. And a lot of these are tasks that you would generally perform via the UI, but obviously now we can enable those actions via our LLM. So asset management is probably the main one that you're likely to want to use. Environment config is more about setting up things within your product environment. So this might be creating or editing upload presets or upload mappings, defining a bunch of names, transformations, so that you can have reusable transformations that are used across different setups. You can configure webhooks and streaming profiles, lots of other things there. Then we have structured metadata, very specific to that particular component of Cloudinary, so defining the metadata fields and the values. We have an analysis one, which allows you to perform AI-powered analysis on your assets. And then for those using a low-code environment, we have media flows, and this enables you to create and manage and retrieve data on the media flows that you've created. a bit of background in terms of what I'm going to demo and the tooling that I'm going to use for this session. So um, from a developer standpoint, I'm gonna show Cursor. Hopefully you're familiar with Cursor. If you're not, it's an IDE, which is a fork of VS Code. It's an AI-powered IDE, so it enables lots and lots of different features and tooling, one of which is a kind of AI chat, which will make edits to your code, add files, do a whole bunch of really cool stuff. And within that, you can add all of these MCP servers. So you can go in and connect the various different tools that you want to use. So in this case, obviously, we're going to connect the Cloudinary ones, and I've showed us adding both the asset management and the environment config. So the screenshot in the bottom right shows the kind of installed servers, and there's an option for adding a new MCP server, and this will open up a JSON file, which is the screenshot in the top left. That JSON file will have this MCP servers object, and within that, that's where you will define each of your MCP servers that you want to add. You'll find documentation for all of the MCP servers that you'd want to add on the particular website, so you'll be able to copy and paste the config pretty easily. We actually provide both a hosted version of the server and a local version that you can run yourself. The setup that I'm showing here is the remote version, and the remote version allows you to log into your account via OAuth. So once you've added Dish, you can click on the connect button, and that will pop up the OAuth flow, allowing you to log into your account and select the product environment you want to use. If you wanted to use the local versions of the servers, which will spin up and run on your own machine, then you will need to provide your credentials, so your cloud name, API key, and API secret, which you can retrieve from the console. And those just get defined as part of the JSON configuration. But the previous slide, where we had the link to the documentation, this will show you how to set those up.
And
we
I think
also
in that, and I was just going to say, I think in that documentation, there are buttons that you can have, like connect to cursor.
Yes.
You can use those. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So for Cursor, there's buttons that will actually add this automatically for you. We've got documentation for all the different, most popular platforms as well. So VS Code, Claude Code, Claude Desktop, Windsurf, anything that you're using at the moment, there'll be instructions on how to set that up. So would recommend checking out that page if you're going to get going with this. Probably time that we had a bit of a demo here. So this is a screenshot I've taken. I'm going to actually demo this live and hope that it works in the same way. You never know with AI chat, it can change its mind. But the general premise of this is I have a basic React app, which is a basic product gallery, and I have my images stored locally in an assets folder on the server, and then I want to replace those assets and upload them to Cloudinary and replace the URLs in my app with Cloudinary specific ones. And for good management, I want to put them in a folder, and I want to add a tag as well. The screenshot here, I've actually changed my prompts because I want to kind of see if it can handle a little bit more. So I can jump out of the presentation, and I will quickly show you what the basic tools look like. So this is just a very, very simple product gallery page. We've got 10 stock images of products, and if we have a look, we can see that these are being loaded from the server. In this case, I mean, they're all quite small images, but we've got 20 kilobytes. I'm going to jump over into Cursor, where I've kind of pre-prepared my new version of the prompt. What I'm saying is take my image assets, the ones that are currently stored in my repository here in assets, and I want you to upload to Cloudinary in a product images folder with the tag products. Then I want to replace the image URLs in my code. And this is the extra bit I've added, is that I want to use the tag that I assigned to these images, and Cloudinary has a client-side listing API, which allows you to return assets based on a tag. So I actually am asking for it to implement that client-side listing based on the tag that we've used, return those assets, and then we're going to also apply some Cloudinary optimizations. Let's see what happens when we run that.
All right, demo gods, let's go.
Yes.
And you're using Claude Sonnet, so you can always choose whichever LLM you'd like to use.
Yeah, so At the moment, I would say Claude 4.5 Sonnet is the kind of best value and most, it works for code pretty well. So at the moment, it's probably the most recommended one to use here. So what we can see immediately is that we've asked this to upload these images, and the model has identified that it needs to use the Cloudinary MCP server. And in this case, we're looking at the upload asset tool. So that's one of the tools that exists in the asset management MCP server. And if we expand this, we can see this is the response from the API. So it's just returned us this response. The upload request was to take these files from this folder and upload. So it's obviously run 10 times because it's uploading 10 images. And in the response, we can see that it has returned a URL for those images. So we know that it's successfully uploaded the images and it's put them in the product images folder, which is perfect. We've also, to successfully verify that those assets have made it there, we've run the search assets MCP tool, and we can see that it's returned 10 information objects about those 10 assets. And actually, we've got a total count of 10 there. So it's found the assets that we've just uploaded. So it's verified that that MCP tool call worked in the first instance, and then it's used a subsequent call to verify that. Then very quickly, whilst I've been talking, we've created a Cloudinary helper file, and this is just a file that's used to call that client-side list API that I talked about before, and then we've updated our main app.jsx to load that in, added some styling, and we've got a summary here. So I've kind of talked through this, but yeah, kind of
It really
got
went,
the...
it really went all out, didn't it? It's like,
Oh yeah, like sometimes you
nobody asked for the.
sometimes you do have to rein it in,
Yeah.
but it's basically done a bunch of things and it's applied the Cloudinary optimizations that I asked for. So all of the components from this, which is a 2-sentence prompt, basically take my app and add Cloudinary. It's combined the MCP servers with its knowledge of Cloudinary. And if we now go back to the browser and refresh, we have now got,
Looks like
it's telling me the images are optimized and delivered via Cloudinary, so we can verify this now.
Yeah.
We are looking at
A photo
now
CI.
a Cloudinary image. This is the URL of that image, and we are serving up a 15 kilobyte file. It's WebP. So we've applied a
Nice.
bunch of Cloudinary optimizations there. One simple prompt. We've taken our existing assets, we've uploaded to Cloudinary, and we've replaced them all on our product gallery. So we've gone 0 to Cloudinary in one very simple prompt.
So there's a question which I think we could answer as we go because we're going to be looking at different tools. So Vita's asking, is it creating different images for different device types with different resolution and bitrate? And does it create different URLs, or is that optimization taking place at the runtime? So I noticed that it added it gave a URL back with transformations embedded in the URL. What else is going on here?
Yeah, so this is basic Cloudinary functionality. So the way Cloudinary works is you upload your original assets. So the MCP tool took those original assets from my assets folder and uploaded them in their original form into Cloudinary. Then you can see if I take this. So this is the URL that we're using to deliver this. So Cloudinary dynamically applies these transformations. So it's basically these parameters here are what we call transformations, and they are creating a new what we call a derived version of the existing asset. So the existing asset is the one that sits in your media library, but when we're serving it on the website, what we're serving is a derived asset, and that asset lives on the CDN level, which makes it even more optimal. But this is all done dynamically and on the fly. You change these parameters. I mean, I can do a really quick demonstration. I can change this to 800, and we can see it immediately changes. So that's another derived asset, and that's another one that's on the CDN, but that doesn't exist in your library. Only the original one exists in your library.
And the real money is with F auto and Q auto. Those are the most
Correct.
important
Yeah. So the reason
transformations
we
you
were
want to be
getting that,
adding. Yeah.
the reason we got a WebP instead of the JPEG was because WebP is the most optimal format for the browser and the system that I'm using.
Yeah, and Michaela's asking, then did you have to manually add them to your website, or how did you upload all those new URLs? So that's actually the weird thing about MCP servers is that you are parked in Cursor and you have this agent doing all those manual tasks for you. In fact, this did more than you asked, right, Nick? It added a file, it did some styling, like nobody asked for that, but it did all of the adding of the URLs into your website because
Yeah,
it's cool and smart. And you basically are parked in your IDE. You're not going to console to do any of this work now. It's a mind shift for developers.
building on that, from what Jen was saying there, pre-MCP, pre-AI chat world, the process would have been go to Cloudinary, log in, open up the media library, create a new folder, open the upload widget, find all of the assets that you wanted to upload them all, making sure that
Tag
you
them.
added the tag in when you uploaded them or
Mm.
subsequently afterwards, then go back to your code, write code, which may, depending on your skill set, may take you half an hour to do that, call the right API to list the assets based on the tag, and then switch that out. So like we haven't even left cursor.
Yeah,
We've written two sentences, press enter,
yeah.
um,
It's incredible.
and that's where we're at. And this is a very, very simple use case.
Yeah.
There's much more complex use cases we can get into.
It's incredible, but you do have to kind of watch these agents because they may make changes that you never intended them to make. I
Yeah.
remember I was working in a Vue.js app, and all of a sudden it started adding React components. I was like, nobody asked for React rollback. Cool.
Awesome. So I think Jen now is going to talk to you about Goose and how that
Yeah.
connects to the Cloudinary MCPs.
Yeah, definitely. So we wanted to talk about Cursor because so many developers are using Cursor, but there's so many other tools out there that you can use for getting your agentic workflow up and running. One tool that I've been looking at is by a company called Block, and they are the folks who are behind Square, but they also have this tool called Codename Goose, which is a little desktop app that you can just download for free, and you can connect it in a really cool way to your workflows. They have this ability to go into your settings. You connect it to an LLM. I chose Gemini 2.0 Flash. And then I have a couple more items which are connected here, especially the Cloudinary Asset Management MCP. So once I have my LLM implemented and asset management turned on and my credentials are ready to go, I'm able to go ahead and do some interesting workflows just from within Goose. So Nick was parked in Cursor. I've been parked in Goose, and just saying, hey, I have this thing that I want to do with an image. Goose, do this for me. Get this agent working for me. Sometimes I call them, these agents, I call them my little employee because then they work for free. But what I did is I've been working actually on a side project, which is about my family tree. So I have Goose here. I'm going to also show Claude in a minute, but here's my family tree, if you could see this. So it's very interesting. My ninth great grandmother is one of the witches who was hung in Salem, and that explains so much. I just need to let you know. So, but she's like back in actually the nurse family. Take a look at New England history. But anyway, if we take a look at Ancestry.com, people all over the world are uploading old scratchy images. Here's a picture of my grandfather actually in his World War I uniform, and this image. I think it's been retouched, but it's super grainy. So what I've been doing is I've been saying, hey, copy the image address, and I want to optimize this. I want to make this better. So I have a preset. Let's see if Goose will do it for me. So take this image and upload to Cloudinary with the preset T_ancestors. So I put an image preset in Cloudinary so that it knows it's going to be using some AI to enhance the image. And I'm going to run it through that and give me back the URL. Let's see what happens. Demo gods, Goose is working on it. Okay, yep. So they downloaded the image. Oh, did I get the wrong upload preset? I can't remember what my upload preset is. Try that. I'm not sure. It's not there either. That's okay. But at any rate, you'll be able to get these workflows working, and so that it would upload and get back. I thought it was T ancestors. Maybe it's F. Try F.
The T ancestors will be the transformation, names transformation, but you'll have a separate upload preset name if you're using one.
Anyway, my bad. Demo God's not happening. But anyway, what's going to do is going to upload this picture and get this preset working so that it will give you the non-scratchy, the optimized image back. So that's good. So anyway, obviously I don't have my preset right, and that's my bad because I should have remembered what it is. But Goose is a nice little tool, and you can use it. I will show you what it looks like in the back as you're chatting with it to get these items working. And you can go into your settings here and look at your advanced settings, and this is where you start setting up. I have my Cloudinary config here set up and my asset management aspects set up. So this works nicely. Goose is a nice little tool to try. And another tool I wanted to show you, I'm not going to push it too hard, but here we have Claude desktop working. So this is another nice tool. This was a little more challenging to set up for Cloudinary MCPs. I had to edit JSON directly to get all of my credentials working, but you have to go into your assets here, into your settings, and set up everything. But there are also some connectors, which I'm going to show you in a second. But in Claude, it's the same sort of thing. You're basically saying, you know, hey, for this situation, I have a media flow that's working. That's why I was asking the question. I had a media flow working in the back. And what it's doing is it's looking for any uploaded images that are coming into my account in a particular folder. And then every month, it's going to be blowing those away. So it's going to be deleting. And so what I wanted to do in Claude was just check the status of that media flow, and it's giving me information. It doesn't have direct access to the logs. That would have been nice to have, but it's saying, here's how you can look at what's going on. And it gave me when it last ran, what happened to make it run. I uploaded this image, what that image was. So there's a lot of information here. And then this is the audio upload group, and there's some files in here that it's watching. So this is a nice thing. If you don't want to jump into your console, you can just use, you know, Claude Desktop or Goose or any one of these tools. Get it connected to your Cloudinary account, and you could go ahead and make it check on your workflows, make it check your media flows, make it upload for you, make it download for you. At one point, I created a little web scraper, and I was looking for pictures of a particular item, grabbing them every week, and then uploading them to a particular folder. So there's just a ton of stuff you can do to get your workflows working. These are hobbyist kind of fun examples. You know, the ancestry stuff is cool, but you could use these in a workflow, like if you're a social media manager and you need to get all of your user-generated content into one place, so you're gathering them locally and then uploading them without having to jump into the console. So those are kind of two demos. If I can get my my preset working again, I will maybe be able to properly show you what happened there. But I'll go ahead and unshare my screen and pass it back over to Nick.
Great. So we've done Claude Desktop and the Cloudinary MCP. Just to further on what Jen was saying, this is when you're in this kind of chat environment, the more MCP servers that you connect, the more you can do. So in cases like this, you might have, say, your Google Drive or Google Docs connected or something like that. So, you know, you can build these workflows by taking the information that the Cloudinary MCP returned on this media flow and maybe automatically pushing that out to a spreadsheet that you have that manages it, so you can, you know, store this information in a logical place. So when you're trying to build these workflows, you know, you're getting to the stage where you can actually just have a good old chat with your LLM, and your kind of work is all done via that, basically. So we kind of talked about, you know, more simple single use prompts in a way. So, you know, the one that I demoed earlier, the main thing we did was just to do an upload of the local assets. We did actually call the search assets to verify that, but it was much more of a simple example where we were just doing an upload. but it's very, very powerful. And if you have enough trust in what it does, and you're willing to kind of invest the time to maybe tweak a few things afterwards, you can actually perform very complex things, and you can call multiple different tools from within those MCP servers. So here's a quick example that I did, which is a much more of a broad prompt trying to do a lot more in a single chat. So I asked to take my app, so the same app. I wanted to basically enable that app to allow users to upload their own user-generated content into that gallery. In order to do that, we need to properly define the different environment configuration within Cloudinary and also adhere to the recommended best practices. I also wanted to make sure that the assets were properly tagged, and then I want to basically guide the LLM to use the Cloudinary MCP tools in order to achieve this. The first thing it did was to build itself a little to-do, and then it started with creating an unsigned upload preset. And unsigned upload presets are required when you're uploading from the client side for security reasons. So you have to use an upload preset to define all your configuration for uploads. And the tooling was aware of this. It was able to identify that it needs to create an upload preset, and it was then able to run the upload preset tool to do that creation for me. Got an error back on the first go, but it managed to resolve that the next time around. Then we also wanted to create a set of names transformations. So when we were returning the user's uploaded images back to them, we wanted to create reusable preset transformations to do that. So we went off and created those 3 transformations. Then we wanted to also create an upload mapping to make sure that we properly mapped the assets we were uploading to the right place. And then also for seeing when this happened, and you may trigger further code to run. So we wanted to have a webhook notification to catch the notification for when somebody uploaded one of their images. One of the main use cases when it comes to user-generated content is doing content moderation, so making sure that people aren't uploading things that they shouldn't. And a webhook is the best way that you can trigger that. So you can capture the webhook, trigger your moderation flows, and go from there. So the LLM was able to identify a bunch of this configuration that needed to happen. The chat went on much further. It was able to actually implement uploading for me with the Cloudinary upload widget. It was not 100% working, but 90% of the way there. But all of that configuration going into settings, or various parts of the Cloudinary console, where you have to do all this setup in order to enable these kinds of more complex workflows. We were able to do that one by one just through this chat, which is an example of how these more complex prompts can trigger multiple different MCP tools. These are all Cloudinary specific ones. If I had other tooling connected via MCP, then I'm sure it would have also triggered those. So if I was creating an application with a backend that had a database, depending on the database provider, I can connect that database up. So it would actually be able to retrieve the schema for the database, figure out, how to create queries to retrieve what it needs to, and then subsequently, if we were storing data in the database, it could write the code in order for us to put the returned information into the database. So it's really, really powerful once you have all the different components and MCP servers set up that you're using on a day-to-day basis when you're writing code and developing an application.
Very cool. Is there any question around security with these things? I feel like that's always the big question, like, yikes.
A lot of it you can configure so that you approve the requests to the tools that are being made. Cursor and the tooling has improved from the beginning. From the beginning, it was very much, I want to do this. Do you want to approve it? Yes. And you had to keep clicking yes to approve each step. That was obviously much more secure, but if in cases where you're continuously making the same request, you can now allow list certain requests so that they will run without you having to manually click accept each time. But yeah, it's something that you would always want to be aware of. It's not something that you want to entirely trust, and if you don't necessarily know exactly what you're doing when it comes, especially if you're working with databases. You need to be very, very careful. I would recommend only allowing querying of data and looking at the schema. You don't really want to allow anything that's going to edit or add.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks are making the mistake of putting their credentials, into .env files and then asking their agent to do things with them, and
Yeah,
it's quite scary. But I think there's some safeguards built into these tools saying, please don't show me that. I don't want to see that.
yeah.
So
So as far as I'm aware, Cursor I know will not read env files.
yeah,
It will not create or read or edit the data from env files
yeah,
to prevent obviously this credentials leaking. So
yeah.
there is safeguards built into a lot of the tooling.
Okay, cool. I think then we are up to our super, super, super secret reveal. And I feel like, Nick, you need to tell us what the super, super secret reveal is that you were going to tell us.
Okay, so yeah, one more thing, and this is related to MCPs in a way. Lots of people are going to be using their MCPs, connecting them up to their IDEs and the chat within the IDEs. So Cursor, for example, but VS Code also has Copilot, and there's various extensions for those that might use, say, Claude Code. There's a Claude Code extension that enables you to use Claude Code within Visual Studio Code. So what I've been working on is a new VS Code extension for Cloudinary, and it's a very simple method for you to view your media library, your media assets in a kind of directory tree view directly from within VS Code. Um, you can also install it with Cursor and other VS Code forks such as Windsurf. You have to do a manual installation, which we will document. I won't go into it now, but um, the basic premise is you can perform simple Cloudinary actions like viewing your assets, looking at the metadata, you can upload, you can search, you can filter, and one of the main benefits, especially from my perspective, within our documentation team, we often have assets in multiple different product environments. So with this extension, you can actually define multiple product environments, and you can easily switch between those without having to go to the Cloudinary media library. Everything is done via your IDE. So you might have your AI chat, your agentic flows, you might be building out your application, and then you want to add some images to Cloudinary. You can use the MCP tools. We've seen how you can do that, but you might still want to have a visual way of doing that. And the extension that we've built will hopefully help you to do that. So I can, as a very quick demonstration, if we think about the fact that we uploaded our images into Cloudinary earlier, we put them in our product images folder. And so if we refresh that now, we can now see that those product images exist. And this is a kind of way that you can connect the MCP to the extension. Basically, within our IDE, we started our chat. We asked the LLM to upload the Cloudinary, and then we can switch out, jump into the Cloudinary extension, and we can just see that those assets have been uploaded correctly into the correct place and with the correct tag as well. So
Very nice.
this is it's out there in the marketplace. We have a link from the slides via this QR code, which will take you directly to the marketplace listing in VS Code. But if you search for Cloudinary in VS Code, you'll be able to install the extension from there. It is in beta. We're hoping to do a big launch in the next couple of weeks. But
But you
you've
saw
got
it here first.
early peek sneak preview, and feel free to jump in and install it.
That's fantastic. So, yes, people are using Cursor, they're using Windsurf, they're using other IDEs, but a lot of clients, a lot of corporations are using VS Code. Rock solid solution. And here we have a lovely new extension that can really make you super productive using VS Code. So that's wonderful to see. I think the VS Code team should take note. So nice to see.